You ready? Our country's at somewhat of a divide right now. Half the people want to get back to business as usual.
We're tired of business as usual.
We're tired of business as usual.
You have to cut to that. Phil
I was a
Davis.
Republican in times good. I was a Republican in times bad.
I have been a Republican in times good, and I have been a Republican in times bad.
Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell Randy Gonzalez.
Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell Randy Gonzalez.
Probably
Shout out Phil Davison.
It's probably about 8 people who of our listeners who get that reference, but it's fine.
Maybe not, man.
He was early on, bro. We were listening to your house.
It's a YouTube video way back in the day went viral. It was on Tosh.0 though.
Yeah. Anyways, the country's at a divide. A lot of people want to get back to business as usual. Some people think the quarantine should continue. Do you have any input on that?
To be completely transparent, I don't really.
I feel for both sides.
Yeah, I don't really know how I feel. I know what I'm doing. Personally, I'm quarantining and staying the fuck away from people. You know, obviously that's just kind of obeying the law at this point. But I saw a funny meme that kind of like opened my eyes a little bit. They're like, you know, it was like a picture of our founding fathers, and they're like, you know, give me liberty or give me death, you know, or whatever the quote was. And they're like, except if there's a virus that comes out that has a lower than 1 percentile fatality rate, in that case, strip me of all my freedom, and tax me even though I'm not getting paid and lose my, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm seeing that side of it more and more as I think about it fundamentally. Law, nature, like the nature of a true democracy, which is choice. And if you want to go outside. So, but I also understand, like, look, what the hell you want to, like, there's a chance, like, we could lose tons of people's lives if we just, let this shit fly. So, I don't know how I feel. I'm very on the fence. It's a pretty shitty answer to that. But I actually talked about politics a little bit, and I've become a little more interested in my belief that I think Republicans and Democrats and this whole divide, we have to stop feeding into this divide.
Oh, well, let's not even get into that
But what I'm saying is that there's a huge divide.
I agree with you.
There's a huge divide in most of our country's issues.
I agree
but
with
it
you.
stems from, this is how I think, this is how we think. We can't, like, we got to figure it out. Like this one, I'm a perfect example. I don't even know how I feel.
Yeah.
So instead of, you know what I mean? Like there has to be, politically speaking, there just has to be somebody who's like, yo, what is our middle ground?
Well, I have a pretty firm stance on it, only because, and I told you about this, there's a control group right now, and that's Sweden, who never even went in lockdown. They never once went into quarantine. They just kind of like, they went along as business as usual. And you know, if you look at the statistics of what's happened in Sweden, they aren't worse off than any other country. In fact, like they're either average or they're doing better.
That's skewed though.
Yeah, but Americans.
No, I mean,
There's so many more, dude. That's such a skewed statistic.
let me finish, because I mean, Sweden, yes, it's not a huge population, but I mean, like their biggest city of Stockholm is 1 million people. That's bigger than the majority of the cities in the United States.
People per capita, there's a lot of space. There's a lot of mountains. There's people per
Stockholm is still a major city.
If you look at New York City though, you look
different.
at Tokyo, you look at any of these places.
Okay, if
you said no quarantine,
I'll put it in this perspective. Massachusetts, Boston is smaller than Stockholm. It's smaller, and Boston's fucked. Boston's one of the worst cities right now.
So
Boston's worse off than Los Angeles right now.
They're assholes, bro. There's a bunch of there.
I'm just telling you.
So stupid.
But
Boston, I love you guys.
what I'm trying to get at, is big cities like Stockholm never went under lockdown. They never did quarantine, and they found that people who want to stay inside stay inside. They've seen 50 to 75% of like less traffic on the streets of people going outside. So if people,
it also depends on how much of the virus actually got there. Think about it. There's a lot more tourism to America from Asia.
Of course, but a lot of cities are suffering. Who's to say that Italy's worse off than Sweden? You know what I mean? Like,
but what I'm saying is the whole thing is travel, and like America is top of the totem pole
for
as far
sure,
as tourism.
New York City especially.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and then so many people, new people, exchange of people, the lifestyle that America and the build of America, even just geographically speaking, like a lot of these cities, like there's no way you can make the argument that we'd be better off if we never kept people. Like there'd be a lot more deaths.
No, it's not saying better off. It's giving people the option, and when you give people the option, you'll find that there are just as many people staying inside, not doing anything.
I hear you, but like if they went on the news and they were like, hey, no, you guys can go outside, like if you want, but maybe it's safe to stay. Everyone will go outside.
I don't know.
Like even still, there's people going.
We don't know. We don't know that yet. And like, I bet you in Los Angeles, people will fucking go outside because there's fucking riots about people not being able to go to the beach in the summer. Like something,
bro, it'd be
something so
poppin'.
fucking simple as that.
Travel, the whole world would be bustling still, man.
For sure. Think of the virality of this virus and how easy it is to catch it. If even fucking 5 people had it in Sweden and they just let people fucking run rampant, it would spread there. It would be an issue. It'd be an issue fast. It'd be an issue really, really fast.
I think they got more composure.
You know what I mean?
out there.
And like I get it, like it's a whole different fucking world. I mean, I don't know, I've never been there, but it's a whole fucking different world over there. I'm sure like there's different stipulations and whatever. It's probably different there, but I think that it's a decent control group to at least look at.
Yeah, you gotta look at it.
You just gotta look at
this is why I feel so on the fence. This is why I feel like there isn't really an opinion. It's why I said there needs to be someone who's like just in the middle of this saying, hey, look, we don't really know the answers. Here's our circumstances. Like it just feels like one thing I read. The next article I read is something like actually like almost the polarity of that. Like
I mean,
there's so much confusion. Everything's propaganda.
It is a train wreck.
Everything's political. Like what I'm saying is it's like if we could just the little bit leaning into the oneness of like, yo, we're all people and we're trying not to die.
Yeah.
Like we're just trying to figure out how we can beat nature's. There's a monster that hopefully was naturally created, because I hope someone didn't create it, but there's tons of theories about that. But like, it's just, look, we're into it and we're listening and I'm paying attention and I'm confused on how to feel, how to think about it and what to do.